Our typical summertime thunderstorms, we just haven't had them because of that solid west wind pattern. But for the next 2 or 3 afternoons, we're going to go back to a normal pattern where we can push these storms back to the west coast. Right around frostproof, tiniest little tropical downpour just popped up out of nowhere. Look at that. It's going to rain for like a minute, if that, and then this other shower fell apart over Highlands County. Look at the temperatures, 76 in New Tampa, Apollo Beach at 78, West Chase, Tampa, lower 80s, upper 70s for Crystal River, Brooksville, Land O'Lakes, Sarasota, Lakewood Ranch, all in the upper 70s. Joining you, Sebring, Haines City, and Lakeland. Difference is this, you can feel it. It's about 2 to 5 degrees warmer this morning than it was yesterday at this time. It does feel a little bit steamier in general. The winds are light, but they're in the process of shifting again. Just for a few days, we're going to go back to more of that easterly wind flow. This big trough, which has been sitting along the east coast of our country, is going to kind of lift out for a few days. That will allow high pressure to build into the western Atlantic and shift our winds briefly. By, the end of the weekend, though, that west wind comes right back at us again. So just a brief break, if you will, in this very unusual weather pattern to get us back to normal for a bit. One thing I want to point out, in the mid-levels of the atmosphere, there is a smidge of drier air, so we may not reach our maximum potential for afternoon and evening thunderstorms. Something to look out for, something to watch. But as they develop later today, they're not going to be moving toward the east coast. They're going to be drifting back toward the west coast. So a familiar pattern, but unfamiliar this summer because this is typically what happens around here. So about 3 o'clock or so, you're going to notice Polk County, Hardy County, maybe southeastern Hillsborough County, some scattered showers and storms. And then they'll work their way a bit back toward the west where they're going to be meeting that west coast sea breeze and the potential for some bigger thunderstorms at about 5 or 6 o'clock. Then the sun goes down, you lose the energy, and then the process restarts all over again for tomorrow. So the east wind returns for just a few days, which will allow us to push some thunderstorms back to the west coast for a change. So hot and sticky, some afternoon storms, 40 to 50% the rain chance, your high of 93. Yep, heat index is going above 100 degrees. No heat advisories, but I'm thinking over the next couple of days, you're going to feel a little bit more heat because the storms aren't coming until later in the day. That just gives us more time to heat things up. Warm and damp tonight with a low of around 79 degrees. And then the heat continues tomorrow, of course. Rain chance at about 40 to 50%, but tomorrow's high, 94 degrees, so sneaking it up there a little bit. Seas running less than a foot if you are boating today. How about the water temperature? It was 90.9. I just rounded it to 91 if you're okay with that. Sitting at a high tide right now with a low tide at 7:45 in St. Pete. This morning, we're up low to mid 90s for the next 7 days. Rain chances, as typical, at about 40 to 50%.